why teachers are so stressed out and burning out. What I really loved about teaching was the fact that you got to be so creative and you got to work with students in a really meaningful way. You got to really engage with what they were doing in their lives. And it wasn't just about teaching the curriculum, but you really got to look at their spiritual lives, their personal lives, their academic lives, their family lives. And you got to put all this together and do a lot of really creative things in the classroom. And that's what kept me going in teaching for most of my career. And I think that's what keeps most teachers going. So it was the beginning of my 5th year of teaching, and it was just the end of August, so right before Labor Day, and I was coming in to set up my classroom. So I walked in, and what was I greeted with? On top of my emotional stress and being completely drained and not wanting to go in there, I was presented with my class list. I had a class of 42 students in a room designed for 27. I had a teaching course load of 12 courses, when normally most people were teaching about 8. Teachers put on a really good facade of what it looks like to be a teacher, and they hold it all together when they're standing in front of their classrooms in their teacher persona. But what happens behind the scenes is often a lot more depressing. Teachers suffer from a really, really high rate of burnout. 1 in every 4 teachers quit in their first 5 years. After one of my workshops on teacher wellness, a participant came up to me and was speaking to me about her experience. And she said, "Thank you for the things that you said, because it really put some things into perspective for me." She was a teacher librarian, and she had been on sick leave for the past 2 years for a very, very serious life-threatening illness, which she attributed to her stress as a librarian and her stress of all the work that she did in school. Successful students, and that's why teachers teach. We teach because we want our students to be successful. We want them to succeed. We want them to grow and to learn and to expand. That's the whole purpose of why we do our jobs. But if we can't be successful because we're burning out, how on earth can our students be successful? Teaching normalizes stress. There's a lot of myths about teaching, about the way that we're supposed to teach and the way we're supposed to behave as teachers, the way we're supposed to approach our teaching, that is really detrimental to our well-being. So much of what's out there for teachers to deal with stress or to deal with issues in their classroom, it's all techniques and it's all strategies for how to manage your kids, how to manage your workload, how to manage this, how to manage that. But in the end, it's just like you're juggling all these balls and you have to try to figure out how to keep them all up in the air. But it's not really about what you're juggling, it's about you and how you feel when you're doing that. I mean, you either want to be stressed out and anxious while you're doing all that, or inside you want to feel calm and secure and positive about what you're doing. But the first step, of course, is just to decide that you've had enough and you're not going to take another step in that paradigm that tells you that stress as a way of life is the way that you're supposed to live and teach. Wouldn't it be so much better and so much more positive for ourselves and for our students, for our schools and for our communities if we could reframe and rethink about how we teach so we never have to get towards that crisis point? So think about why you started teaching in the first place. I bet that it wasn't to have piles of marking to take home with you and wasn't it? Isn't that why people teach? Because they want to be drowning in marking? I don't think so.